Hello Tyler, here's part 3. Alright, we got Frankie booted the ball high into the air. Max streaked after it. It tangled in his feet and he tumbled over the top. Pass it, called Frankie. Max managed to nose the ball to Louise. She dribbled the ball in and out of the swings and sent a curling shot towards the top corner of the goal. Charlie dived and just got his fingertips to the ball. Nothing gets past me, said Charlie. We'll see about that, thought Frankie. He fetched the ball and passed it to Louise. She looked up, ready to shoot, then stepped over the ball and flicked it up with her heel. Frankie was ready. He brought his foot round and connected with a perfect volley. The ball screamed towards the goal. Charlie leapt sideways, gloves splayed, but the ball passed beneath his outstretched hands. Frankie slid onto his knees, thinking his mum would kill him when she saw the grass stains. Super goal! The shout trailed off in Frankie's throat. The ball had vanished, and so had the model ship. Max growled quietly. Frankie stood up, his heart thumping. He couldn't believe what was before his eyes. Where the goal had been just a second before, there was a swirl of light like nothing he'd seen. Colours flashed and spun in a disc shape 3 metres across. He looked at Louise. Her jaw had dropped open. Charlie picked himself up, bashing the ground with his fist. He still hadn't seen the spinning circle of light behind him. I was so close, he said. Charlie, said Louise, you might want to turn around. He did as she told him, then leapt backwards. Holy moly, what is that thing? Frank and Louise joined Charlie's side. The lights shifted and shimmered like oil on water. I have no idea, said Frankie, but it must be linked to the ball. I knew there was something weird about that stall. He reached towards the whatever it was. What are you doing? Asked Charlie. Frankie turned to his friend. My ball's through there somewhere, he said. I have to get it back. Are you crazy? Said Charlie. Frankie grinned. It's just like when it goes into Mrs. Pratchett's garden. Mrs. Pratchett was Frankie's grumpy next-door neighbour. There was only one thing she hated more than slugs in her garden, and that was Frankie's football. This isn't quite the same, said Charlie. Anyway, said Frankie, it must be my lucky ball. I got it past you, didn't I? Charlie started to mumble something about being lucky, and Frankie stepped closer. He swallowed as his hand passed through the surface of the swirling colours. It feels warm. He held out his hand to his other friends. Who's with me? I am, said Louise at once. She gripped Frankie's hand. Charlie shook his head. I hope I don't regret this. He took Louise's hand in his goalie-gloved one. Max nuzzled at Frankie's ankle. Frankie took another step, and his arm slipped into nothingness, up to the elbow. His skin tingled all over, as if electricity were passing through his whole body. Now or never, he said. Something gripped his arm and sucked him in. Chapter 3. Ooh. What? Whoa. Blackness swallowed Frankie. He felt his body tossed from side to side. The others were crying out in alarm. Louise's fingers clutched his tightly as he turned upside down. Colours swelled all around. Frankie found himself hurtling down a rainbow-coloured chute feet first. He'd been on plenty of roller coasters in his time, but this was something else. He lost his grip on Louise as he spun round and round, head first, on his back, on his stomach, on his side. It was like a water slide, but without any water, and much, much quicker. Frankie managed to steady himself as he looped around a bend. In a flash, he saw the others shooting along behind him, limbs flailing. Uh-oh, caught Louise, her eyes staring past Frankie. He turned and faced the way he was travelling. His heart thumped in panic. Ahead, the tunnel seemed to disappear as it turned downwards. Frankie scrambled against the walls, but they were more slippery than a wet pitch. He couldn't slow himself down. Sorry, he cried as he plummeted over the ledge. The chute was bottomless, and down he tumbled, wind rushing in his hair. Then he saw something. Wooden boards rushing towards him. This is it, he thought. Bracing himself, this is the end. The impact never came. All was dark until Frankie realised he had his eyes closed. He was on his back, lying on a hard surface. The world seemed to rock beneath him, and something wet touched his face. When he opened his eyes, he saw Max's furry face close to his tongue lolling. Beyond him was a clear blue sky. A flag with a skull and crossbones design flew from a mast. A seagull screeched overhead. A seagull, but we're nowhere near the sea. Frankie sat up and gasped. He was sitting on the deck of some sort of old ship. The boards and masts were all made of timber. And I think that's where we should go to bed tonight, because that's a really good place to stop. Now, you need to let me know if you're enjoying these, because there are lots of Frankie's Magic Football books. This one is the one about the pirate pillagers, so guess what sort of a boat they're now on. Anyway, that's it until tomorrow night. I love you heaps and heaps and heaps. You need to let me know if you're enjoying these books, because I don't want to buy any more if you're not. And look, we're halfway through this book, because I know you're interested in the number of pages in a book. This book has 84 pages. Okay? So, I think it's a good book. I want to know what's going to happen next, don't you? And did I show you the game cards? Hold on. There's the game cards. And if you get lots of books, we'll be able to play the game when you come round again, yeah? See? Look there. Frankie, Scarlet, Captain Cropper, Max the dog. Okie dokie, darling. Nighty-night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bedbugs bite. Be good for Daddy. Love you, darling. Night-night.